What am I doing here?
We'll, we'll wait for a few minutes and then we'll start the session. So, is everybody aware of the plugin that we introduced regarding Restful implementation? I hope that at least some of you have taken a look at it.
I did not understand what you said, Girish. What was it?
Yeah, so I just wanted to check if any one of you have basically looked into the recent plugin that was introduced for implementing RESTful API.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay, then I believe we can start, or if you want, we can wait a minute or two, and then we'll start later. Okay, so I believe we can start. So the idea behind having this discussion is basically to make the community aware of the recent developments that we have done on RESTful implementation. That is to introduce a new plugin that tries to achieve that has been missing from Office. So we like to keep it short. The idea is that to have more such frequent discussions, basically, and we'll be concentrating on specific topics. So the agenda today is that I'll be introducing to this plugin, always REST-impl, and then I'll break it down into two parts basically. That is the services endpoint. That's more traditional way of accessing of the services, and then the second part, I would say, is directed towards defining more RESTful resources, right? And then I'll be discussing about what sort of authentication mechanisms that we are supporting. And then on the technology stack, we'll be discussing what libraries we use for implementing this plugin, and then what tools this plugin supports for open API implementation. And then lastly, we'll be having a question and answer session. And along the way, if you feel like you need some more information, then please feel free to interrupt, and then I'll be happy to take it. So to introduce you to this plugin, it all basically started with a discussion on development in this actually. I wanted to know what the community thinks of as far as RESTful services are concerned, what the requirements are. So it came out like that. There was no way. to basically call an office service via RESTful, or you can say REST-like interface. So we wanted to have some stateless APIs wherein you can just specify authorization information, and you can specify the services in parameters, preferably in JSON format, and then the system takes care of passing in those details to the service being called, and then obviously you would want the service to return certain information, and that information should be marshaled in JSON format. So that is what that came out of that discussion. So in the first part, what we have tried to basically implement is that to define a specific endpoint that exactly does what was required. So it exposes all the services that have export equals to true in their service definition, and then since it was supposed to be a REST interface, so we introduced a new attribute in the service definition that can specify what action it is going to query, like what HTTP method you would want this service to be called using, right? So this is the endpoint, services endpoint. You can specify various actions in the service, and if you specify export equals to true, then the system automatically lists those services in the OpenAPI specification, and it has got all the details of what the request format should be, and what the response is going to be, and what and using which particular HTTP method you can call this particular service. So I will reserve more technical discussion of this particular endpoint in subsequent discussion. This particular session is intended to basically provide you an overview. Now, the second part that was recently implemented, that was geared towards specifying uh, more RESTful resources. By more RESTful, I would like to say that it tries to follow um, various architectural constraints that REST defines, specifically when it comes to specifying the URIs, and specifying the collection resources and content negotiation and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if you have got a chance to look into the recent commit that I made. It basically tries to um, allow you to specify an XML DSL, domain specific language, that you can specify, and then all you need to do is specify the path and the HTTP method, and then you just need to attach the specific of the service that is going to fulfill that particular operation. So that's the second part that was recently committed. You can check the repository. Uh, to be more specific here, um, it also does the job of breaking down various RESTful APIs in the form of microservices. It's not exactly a microservices architecture per se, but it allows every component to have their own RESTful APIs, so that it's easy for the developer to manage them. And yeah, obviously, all those RESTful APIs from all the components are basically combined into one single API, and obviously it is deployed in the single object container. So that second part that was recently implemented. Um, if we talk about authentication here, so one of the main principles of RESTful design is that uh, it has to be stateless, right? The ST represents state transfer, right? So every operation that you want to perform, basically using, you know, REST, it should contain all the information the server needs to fulfill your request. So that's the reason you don't want to maintain any session on the server to basically identify what the user is. So what we have done here is we have included two endpoints. One is basically that performs the basic HTTP basic authentication, and the other one is that other one is bearer authentication. So the HTTP basic authentication, you would normally specify username and password that you normally specify, log into Office. And the main difference here is that you don't specify this information in plain text. You are specifying it in header, right? So you specify this information in header using def64 encoding, and then the system basically generates a token using the information provided. So for example, if you specified proper credentials, say for example admin and all this, then it is going to generate a JWT authentication token, and it is going to have a certain expiry time, and it is all governed by the JWT changes that were done in Office. So I believe the default expiration time is 1800 seconds, I believe. So and then subsequent requests that you are going to hit on the Office servers, you have to have the generated JWT token along with each request. System takes care of validating the token, and if the token is valid, then it extracts the user login claim from the JWT token, and then provides it to the local dispatcher. So that's basically what I had on my agenda as far as introduction to this particular plugin is concerned. If you have any questions so far, then I'll be happy to take them.
So Girish, you definitely gave us a higher level view of it, but I believe it would be more useful once we get a little bit of hands-on kind of sessions with it, or some example and all those things. So how do you plan to, get that level of information for the developers?
Yeah, I mean, so this particular session was planned to basically give a brief introduction of this plugin. And as I mentioned earlier, the subsequent sections I'm basically targeting to have code walkthrough, and then obviously have some examples implemented, and that I can show to the community.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you suggest something that we could be doing on our own to be so that we can have a better, more value from your time on the next sessions? What we could be doing? Do you already have some example app that we could run and try it out on the OFBiz and the?
Yes, there is one particular. If you basically incorporate this plugin and have you can actually see all the exportable services with some action defined. You can actually see them displayed on the Swagger UI, and you can actually try to basically invoke those services from the Swagger UI itself. That is something that I'm going to cover in the next session, so that it will be all clear.
Got it. Okay,
yeah,
makes sense. Cool. Yeah, definitely. That would be interesting because
Yeah.
Uh, to see something running, would make it
Yeah.
interesting. Otherwise, it's a good theory.
Yeah, I completely understand, and that's on my cards definitely. So
Awesome.
the next section is going to be targeted for more technical discussion, wherein I'll be showing all various examples of various services. I'll also introduce various complexities as well, maps and lists and everything. So that will be covered definitely.
Good. So, do you already have an agenda, like, the schedule planned out for the future sessions?
Yeah, I'll be basically doing it once next week actually. So and I'll be sending out the invite right after the call.
So, you're saying next week sometime and you'll publish
Yeah,
the schedule? Okay,
yeah.
got it. Cool. Thanks.
So on the next topic, the various technology stack that was used. So we had basically two considerations. One was using Java API for RESTful services, that is JSRS, and then we also considered Apache June. But the thing was with Apache June was that it wasn't allowing to have uh, the traditional way of specifying RESTful services. Uh, so that's the reason we actually went with JARS implementation. On the OpenAPI stuff, we have implemented Swagger, that is basically de facto standard for rendering the OpenAPI specifications. And there is one more tool, that is Redux, that can also be used to render the OpenAPI specification that the system generates. Along with that, out of the box, at the moment, we are supporting JSON. So you have to specify, content type and accept headers in your request, so that the system is able to generate appropriate response for the services. And for marshalling and unmarshalling, we are actually using Jackson for marshalling and unmarshalling, so that we don't have to specify or create new POJOs. We can specifically we can right away return the services response that is either in generic value or a list of generic values. So that's all I had as far as technology stack is concerned. If you have any questions on the technology stack used, please feel free to ask. Okay. Uh, that brings us to the end of this particular session. Any generic questions that you have on the RESTful APIs in this particular implementation, please feel free to ask. And it is going to help if we start testing it out, to make it better. I'll surely plan a session next week to give you more in-depth details about the implementation, and I'll introduce various examples to help you more understand what this particular challenge is. Okay. Here, do you have any questions? Okay, I believe we'll have more once we start the technical details of the implementation. Okay, so I believe we can conclude, and I'll soon send it out. The plan for the next session with more technical details and examples. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Girish.